It is Thursday, June 19th, and Israel's Mossad now in complete control of Iranian airwaves, co-opting their communications infrastructure. Wait till you see what they're broadcasting to all Iranian households. This is wild. Also, Trump moments ago saying he'll make a decision of whether to strike Iran within the next 2 weeks. And we have more details about this, what this may actually mean, and the Federal Reserve declining to cut interest rates. Trump sending a message to too late Powell. We'll show you that and more stories as well from around the country, including the latest on Trump's border operations. Big news down south. But before we get started, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you appreciate these regular updates. We are entering the 150th day of this administration, almost 150 days of things going very well in this country. Trump careening forward, accomplishing promise after promise until last week, until Israel launched this war 7 days ago, putting the president in a very precarious position. This is a history-defining moment. That's what this is. That's what we're waiting on. What will the president decide to do here? We know that the chairman of the Joint Chiefs is the person who personally convinced Trump to greenlight these Iran airstrikes. Trump, as of yet, not giving the go order, and just moments ago saying he will decide whether to strike Iran within the next 2 weeks. Watch what he said.
Now, regarding the ongoing situation in Iran, I know there has been a lot of speculation amongst all of you in the media regarding the president's decision-making and whether or not the United States will be directly involved. In light of that news, I have a message directly from the president, and I quote, "Based on the fact that there's a substantial chance of negotiations that may or may not take place with Iran in the near future, I will make my decision whether or not to go within the next 2 weeks." That's a quote directly from the president for all of you today.
We're now learning that Trump has greenlit a specific attack package to be prepared, but is yet to give the go order. We've been told for days this is happening. The U.S. military has a momentum. There's a momentum that begins building in the military, and once they move into position, like they've been doing for the last few days, it needs to either happen or it has to be called off. They can't just be sitting out there like sitting ducks. The strike window opening 2 nights ago, meaning Trump can order those strikes, could have ordered those strikes for the last 2 nights, but the window won't stay open forever. From what we understand, if it's going to happen, it's happening sooner than later. It's possible that Trump sent Carolyn Levitt out this morning saying he's giving the Supreme Leader 2 weeks. It could be a ploy to catch them off guard. The B-2s may be striking any minute. We don't know. But we've seen Trump do things like this before, saying one thing in public to preserve the mission, give the best chance at success for the mission, catch the Iranians off guard. Israeli officials telling the Times of Israel after this statement from Carolyn Levitt this morning, saying they expect a decision from the White House on joining the war within the next 24 to 48 hours. Quoting another official stating the expectation is that they join, but no one's pushing them. They have to make their own decision. And it can't be 2 weeks. We know it's not going to be in 2 weeks that Trump decides this, because the Israelis have their own ideas. They have their own operation to go into Fordow and take it out.
The destruction or the dismantling of the Fordow nuclear enrichment center, is that a prerequisite for a deal? Is that a red line for you?
No, it's just something that people talk about having. We're the only ones that have the capability to do it, but that doesn't mean I'm going to do it at all. Yeah, we have the best military equipment in the world. You see that with this fight. We have planes that are undetectable, flying around like, nobody's able to see them stealth. You guys want to be stealthy tonight. You can be stealth, you'll never lose, right? But these are incredible planes and weapons. We have the best weapons in the world, by far. Nobody close. And certain countries take advantage of that. Israel has incredible weaponry. So we'll see what happens. I've been asked about it by everybody, but I haven't made a decision.
Either Trump does it or the Israelis do it. And they're going to be doing it soon, sooner than later. We know for sure those U.S. aircraft carriers and strike groups, they don't want to be sitting around the Middle East waiting for an order for the next 2 weeks. They want to be moving. One question that Trump's now reportedly asking is, if these bunker busters can't completely destroy Fordow, why are we even talking about doing it? Apparently, having doubts this is the right move. The Guardian reporting this morning that Donald Trump has suggested to defense officials it would make sense for the U.S. to launch strikes against Iran only if the so-called bunker buster bomb was guaranteed to destroy the critical uranium enrichment facility at Fordow, according to people familiar with the deliberations. And it's a good question. These are the types of questions you want your president asking, considering. Israel now saying they have a plan of their own to destroy Fordow by themselves. Well, if they can do this alone, why use the U.S. military? Why involve U.S. troops at all? U.S. equipment. Each time we deploy these weapon systems, B-2s for instance, it gives Russia, China valuable intel on our capabilities. The B-2 is one of those aircraft that's infamous, used during Operation Iraqi Freedom, shocking the world that Iraqi air defenses were blind, completely blind to it. Meanwhile, Iran continuing their strikes on Israel. One of those missiles hitting the Soroka hospital this morning. Iran saying they weren't aiming at the hospital, instead at this Israeli intel facility 2 kilometers away. Nevertheless, you could see the damage that these missiles inflicted, injuring multiple people. You could see the aftermath here. Israel continuing to carry out relentless strikes against the Islamic Republic of Iran, 24/7 air operations, 50 fighter jets carrying out these missions for the last 24 hours. Footage of their strike this morning on Iran's Iraq-heavy water reactor, a key piece to their nuclear program. This is one of those facilities where they intend to produce plutonium. This is for plutonium production. Additionally, Israel releasing an evacuation bulletin to Iranians to leave the area around the Bushehr nuclear plant, an active nuclear power plant that they operate in coordination with the Russian Federation. Rosatom chief Alexei Likashev releasing a dire plea to Israel: do not strike Bushehr. It could trigger a Chernobyl-style catastrophe. Watch what he said.
Конечно, если будет нанесен удар по действующему первому энергоблоку, это будет сравнимо с Чернобылем. Сравнимо с Чернобылем, с усилием катастрофа, с разрушением ядерного реактора, со всеми вытекающими последствиями, допустительно для безопасности. То есть мы едины совершенно всей мировой семьей, естественно, в том числе заодно, что близко нельзя приближать оружие к действующему ядерному оружию.
Meanwhile, Israel's Mossad carrying out their own ground operations inside the Islamic Republic of Iran, co-opting control of Iran's broadcasting infrastructure. Every TV channel in Iran now calling on citizens to overthrow the Ayatollah. Iranians posting clips of what their TVs now show. Iranian women removing their hijabs, cutting their hair, and tearing up posters of the quote-unquote supreme leader, probably wondering to each other, what happened to all those AI videos promising the end of America? Watch.
Shocked as anyone is by what Israel has managed to do over the past, I've lost track of time, is it 6 days?
7.
Of course I am. Guys, they managed to infiltrate with Mossad agents. They managed to, I'm sure you guys saw this, hack the official regime television station, showing women showing their hair, cutting off their hair, with a little symbol in the corner of a roaring lion, which of course is the name of this operation, Operation Rising Lion. So I'm astonished by what Israel has managed to pull off. I think the president is blown away by what Israel has managed to pull off. But either surrender will come with the bombing or the destruction of Fordow, whether that's military commandos on the part of Israel or bombing from America, we don't yet know, or surrender. But he's saying ceasefire isn't enough, I want total surrender. The problem is one of the things that we have learned about the way this regime functions is that you can't trust anything they say. So they might very well go to Amman and say, total surrender, come, and under American supervision or IAEA supervision, we will destroy Fordow. But where are we going to be 10 years from now? Where are we going to be 15 years from now as they raise up a new generation of nuclear scientists and create new, facilities that are capable of doing this? What does this regime have, guys, if not for this ability?
Right.
What is it?
That's their leverage.
In another story, Carolyn Leavitt opening this morning's White House press briefing with a stunning stat from the U.S. border: 0. Let me repeat, 0 illegal aliens released into our country during the month of May. Watch.
President Trump's powerful efforts to secure our homeland are working. According to newly released numbers, last month, Border Patrol saw a 93% decrease of illegal aliens crossing the southwest border between ports of entry from May 2024 under Joe Biden, when they encountered more than 117,000 illegal aliens. And this particular statistic is absolutely astounding. In the month of May, under the Trump administration, 0 illegal aliens were released into our country by Border Patrol. Let me say that again. Not a single illegal alien was released into the interior of the United States of America last month under this administration. Let's contrast that to Joe Biden's failed leadership, where immigration officers were wasting their finite time and resources processing dangerous illegal aliens for release into the United States. President Trump immediately terminated that reckless Biden-era practice that undermined the rule of law, jeopardized public safety and our national security, and diverted critical resources away from stopping deadly drugs and violent criminals from entering our country.
This is in comparison to May 2024, when over 117,000 illegals were allowed into the country. Not legal immigrants, illegals, undocumented migrants. So can we now say, what the hell? If Trump can completely stop illegal immigration, then what in the world have our politicians been doing over the last 40 years? It's just unbelievable. In another story, the U.S. Federal Reserve convening their latest FOMC meeting yesterday and deciding not to cut the overnight interest rate. It was long expected that the Fed was going to cut rates yesterday. Trump's been calling for it for months. Inflation's been way down. The CPI report from May showing inflation's now at the Fed's target of 2.1%. So what gives? Jerome Powell saying tariffs are the problem. The new line is this disinflation we're seeing, inflation falling, them saying it's transitory. Disinflation is now transitory, and that tariffs will cause a spike in prices. Watch.
Best thing we can do for the American people, for households and businesses, that is the ultimate thing that we can deliver. And they can make their decisions without having to think about inflation all the time. So in the meantime, we have to keep rates high to get inflation all the way down. They're not very high, let's be honest. I would say policy is modestly or moderately, probably modestly now restrictive. If you look at the economy, it's not performing as though it were performing under very strict monetary policy, very restrictive monetary policy. So I would say probably modestly restrictive. And so what it will take is confidence that inflation is coming down. Now, I would say without tariffs, that confidence would be building, because if you see what's happening with non-housing services and housing services, which are the other two big pieces other than goods, those are coming down really nicely now. So I think we have to learn a little more about tariffs. I don't know what the right way for us to react will be. I think it's hard to know with any confidence how we should react until we see really the size of the effects, and then we can start to make a better judgment.
Which is very disingenuous, because all economists know that tariffs are inherently deflationary for the country imposing them. Trump's saying he really believes this guy hates him. Too late, Powell. The guy just hates me, he says. Nothing I can do can get through to him. Roll the tape.
But now we have a man that just refuses to lower the Fed rate, just refuses to do it. And he's not a smart person. I don't even think he's that political. I think he hates me, but that's okay. You know, he should. He should. I call him every name in the book, trying to get him to do something. I've been nice to him. I do it always. I don't know how to sell. I've been so nice to him, fellas, you wouldn't believe. Let's have dinner. Too late. I'd call him too late. Come on, too late. Let's have dinner. I do it every way in the book. I'm nasty. I'm nice. Nothing works. He's like just a stupid person.
All right, that wraps up this episode. We'll keep you posted on the Iran-Israel war. More coverage coming on that, as we still believe here that we will see strikes sooner than later. Like, subscribe. We'll see you in the next one.